Did you know that 85% of people hate their jobs?
I can totally agree.
I was expecting more. Oh wow, that's interesting.
No, I get that.
Okay. Welcome to the Uncovering Greatness podcast. As always, I am your host, Sully. And today I am joined by Nicole Mitchell. Nicole is the lead processor at Uncovering Greatness. She is also a certified bank trainer. And she's joining us today on the podcast to share her knowledge, share her views. Nicole, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Sully?
Good, thank you. So, there's a specific reason I started the way I started.
Okay.
I know that it seems crazy. So I saw that and I thought about, immediately what I thought about was your sort of definition of the word hate, right? It's distance from.
Yep. And
this study says 85% of people surveyed, it was a global survey, hate their job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is wild, right? So I then thought about it in the context of, a lot of the time, especially in South Africa, we get told, well, you should be grateful that you have a job, that you at least have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Can I operate in both? Can I hate my job and be grateful that I have a job at the same time?
So, I guess from a mood perspective, yes, because we can experience a whole bunch of different moods at the same time.
Okay.
How efficient does that make us is, I think, a more optimum question, because, I can hate you, but I can still be grateful for you.
Okay.
Because, the lessons that you've taught me, you, let's say, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe you were abusive towards me. Like,
okay.
You made me, you kept telling me I was useless and worthless and what have you. I can hate you for it, but I can still be grateful to you because you taught me life lessons and you taught me to stand up for myself and you taught me, so I can still be grateful, but I can still hate you. So I still keep my distance from you, but I'm grateful for what you've done for me.
How many people do you think operate like that? Because that's just that was a great explanation. But I'm like, do people actually do that? Or is it easier to just hate? Oh, hate is such a strong word. I'm going to go with dislike rather. Hate is hate.
But I think if you put it in context, is most people are not even aware that they dislike, hate, grateful. Most people are not even aware of the moods or emotions that they feel. They just go, I don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. I don't like it. I don't want to be here. Or I have to be here, so I'm just going to work from 8 to 5, do what I'm supposed to do and go home. And then hopefully I'll get to enjoy the fruits of my labor because on the 25th I get a paycheck. And then I can go spend all my money because I am so unhappy at work. But they can't actually identify how they truly feel.
But then wouldn't the other side of that be, because then it becomes, I always feel like, so now 25th I get paid, I've got my salary, awesome, I go spend it. But once it's gone, then I now kick into, this job, this is why I hate it because it doesn't pay me enough.
Correct.
Now I have less, I don't even have I can't even enjoy the fruits of my labor because of this job. Right, so like in your experience, have you ever seen people get like really stuck? Because like also one of the things that they spoke about in the survey was, I think they said that 70% of those people that were surveyed said it was because of a toxic boss. Now, we've discussed this word toxic a few times. I think I'm still struggling to understand it, right? To understand this whole toxic, because now it's a whole nother person, right? Usually it's toxic environments. Now it's a toxic boss. How would I navigate that situation if I have a toxic boss? And what does that even mean? Because
Well, the biggest thing is that people can call their boss toxic, but are you delivering what you promise?
Ooh.
because the reason why most people perceive their boss as toxic is because
you want me to work, you want me to do my job.
you want me to do my job. Exactly. Like, can you not understand that I have a child to drop off at school, therefore I'm half an hour late, and what is your problem? Like, I still have a life to live outside of this place.
Yeah, I've heard that statement of views from people.
Like, I have a life to live.
Yeah.
No, you have a job to do.
Mm.
And most people consider their boss toxic because they are not being responsible for the things that their boss has asked them to do.
So would you then say people actually being toxic towards themselves with that type of behavior?
Well, we call it self-sabotage.
Yeah.
So you're actually sabotaging yourself by not delivering what you promised. So then you go and you blame your boss because your boss is mean and your boss is ugly, and you misdirect the attention at your boss instead of looking at yourself.
Mm.
And I can guarantee you, if all you do is stop and look at yourself and go, okay, what am I supposed to do? What are my deliverables for today? What do I need to deliver on today? Okay, I've got 5 reports I need to deliver. I need to make sure the office is clean, like my desk is neat and tidy, and I need to, I don't know, make 10 calls. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If all you do is focus on that and go, I'm responsible for this, and you deliver on that, now your boss has got why would he be toxic towards you? Because you delivered on what you promised.
Yeah.
One of the challenges that we see all the time is that there is no clarity on what the deliverables are.
Okay.
So you go into any government organization.
Oh, goodness.
And we can have meeting after meeting after meeting, and nothing actually ever gets done.
Yeah.
And everybody whinges and whines and complains that nothing works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reality is that there's no deliverables and no one is being forced to deliver, because they're not clear on what their roles and responsibilities are. They expect somebody else to do it. And that's a generalization, but generally that's what happens.
So you just kind of do nothing, right? Because I don't know what I'm not actually clear. I know I have an idea, right? And that's never really a good thing to do in a job, I would imagine. If I have an idea of what I'm supposed to do versus this is what you're supposed to do, you just end up being nothing.
So let's use the example of salespeople. That's
Yes.
a great example.
Yeah.
Okay, because salespeople, if you were to ask them, what do you need to deliver on today?
Mm-hmm.
Most salespeople can't tell you. They'll say, I need to make calls.
Yeah.
Well, how many? Are they cold calls? Are they warm? Are you following up on warm leads? Are you connecting with clients? What exactly are you doing?
Mm.
And most salespeople go, well, I've got a target at the end of the month and I have to hit my target.
Yeah.
So I'm not clear on what I need to do on a daily basis
To hit target.
to hit target,
Mm.
but I just know that I need to go and phone people
Okay. Yeah. And
or go visit clients. But if you were to break it down into how many clients do you need to see on a daily basis, and how many clients are warm leads, cold leads, and follow-ups.
mm.
Like, what is your actual sales funnel? And most people, I say most, not everybody, they have no concept of what their sales funnel is and what they actually need to do. And most salespeople, and this happens in all areas, I'm just using sales as an example, they are being measured on what they deliver at the end of the month. They are not being measured on their daily deliberate actions.
Mm. Yeah, and I mean, I think in terms of what you say about like this, a sales funnel for a salesperson, I always see it when we do Ignite Your Sales, when Barry does the funnel, and how people are blown away by it. And I'm like, man, there actually isn't any clarity on what you're supposed to do to reach your goal, right? And I think that's something we do a lot of, right? So if I use myself as an example for entrepreneur hangouts, if I want 30 people in the room, I know that I need to speak to 100 people to get 30 into the room, to paid people. Whereas most people don't know that. It's more of a hidden hope, right? It's like, hopefully I'll get there.
But also, like in terms of you measure how many calls you make. So you are clear on, I need to make 100 calls. So on this day, because you've got other things to do, but on 2 weeks before, you've got to make so many calls every day.
Yeah.
And you have a call sheet and you track it on a daily basis.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Most people, in terms of sales reps, don't have call sheets and they don't track what they do on a daily basis. And then their boss will say, how many calls did you make this week? And they'll go, probably about 100.
Probably.
And they don't know how many they did.
Yeah.
Or they are not keeping record of what they should be doing on a daily basis, tracking it, and then going, okay. And so people get measured on results, not on what are your deliverables on a daily basis. And so what happens is sales reps do nothing for the first 3 weeks of the month. And again, this is a generalization.
You're not saying it's all of you.
Because this does not apply to everybody. But a perfect example would be if you go to a car dealership.
Yeah.
If you go to a car dealership in the last week of the month, you will have 5 sales reps jumping down your throat. If you go in the first 3 weeks of the month, you can't find a sales rep.
I had that when I took my car in for a service. They were all over me. I was like, I'm not buying a car, I'm just bringing the car in for a service. I already know where I need to go.
But I can guarantee you it was in the last week of the month.
Yeah, no, it was.
Because they have a target to hit. Those reps that are car dealers, and again, like I say, it's a generalization because when I've been car hunting, there are certain reps that they take down your details, they'll phone you, they are very deliberate with what they do. You get other reps that just, what car are you interested in? Oh, okay, cool. That's it. They don't take down your details, they don't follow up with you, they don't go, oh, you're in the market for a car. Okay, how can I help you? Okay, so you may not buy it this month, you may buy it next month. There's no forward planning, or there's no... So what happens is, the last week of the month, they jump around, and they're trying to close all these deals. And I mean, like you say, who wants 5 reps jumping down their throat when they're thinking about buying a car?
Nobody. It will freak you out.
And so that's where I talk, like they do nothing for the first 3 weeks of the month, and then the last month they're jumping all over people because they have to hit target. And their target may only be 2 cars. Instead of forethinking and doing the work.
Yeah.
And if we go back to, this is where people hate their job, is because they're not getting measured on what should you be doing every week, or what should you be doing every day. Like, how many calls did you make?
Yeah. On this day, on this day, on this day, on this day. Yeah.
And so, like, how many numbers of people did you collect? So, for example, if I was a car salesperson, every person that came in, I'd be getting their phone number and I'd be phoning them 2 days later and say, have you made a decision? How could I help you? You know, and cool, can I phone you next month?
Keeping connected.
And you keep connected with those people. I mean, I know Barry in his rooms have done studies with people in the car sales industry and asked them, how many times have you sold a car to the same person?
Yeah, I think there was, if I remember in the history of Sales Explosion, there's probably one car salesman who said that he sold to a generation of families, from grandfather to father to, because he kept connected.
But also, I think he sold 3 cars to the same person.
Yeah, yeah, they change cars, yeah.
Because the lifespan of a car is, let's say, 10 years. So in 10 years' time, someone's going to buy another car.
Yeah, and then he sold to a the daughter or the son, I think it was, for their 18th birthday or something like that.
Yes.
And they went straight to him. They didn't go to anybody
They
else.
didn't go to anybody else, but why? Because once a year he was phoning his clients, how's your car? You know, and those are the things that people underestimate the value of those things. Okay, but I don't want to get into that because we were discussing moods and hate and people hating their job. But the reason why they hate it is because one, they're not doing what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure if you go to those car sales reps people, or any car sales rep, they're going to say, I'm not going to have another month like that. That was terrible. I don't want to be under pressure in the last week of the month again.
Next month.
And next month what happens? Exactly the same thing.
I got busy with admin.
You know, sitting, drinking coffee and whatever it is.
Typing out emails.
Sending out emails. And
not you guys, just some other people we know.
Correct. And then the cycle repeats itself and then they go, oh, I hate my job. You know, there's so much pressure on me. And my boss is like toxic. He puts all this pressure on me.
Just ask me to do my job. So unnecessary.
You know, like, and I can't, like, he's jumping down my throat because I haven't had budget. But if you're truly honest with yourself, are you doing what you need to do from the first of the month?
In terms of what we're talking about here, how many people do you think actually hate their job? And all of this is speculation. But how many people would you say actually hate their jobs because of money?
Everybody. And I say that it's not everybody, but a lot. And it would be the 85% because the 85% don't understand money. They don't manage their money well. They treat their money exactly the same way as they treat their job. They've spent their whole paycheck by the first of the month.
Yep.
And now they've got 25 days to manage with the lack of money. And then they hate their job because it doesn't pay them enough. But yet, if you actually go into their house, they've got...
It's unnecessary. You have too many streaming subscriptions.
Correct. I just look, and it's actually a conversation Barry and I had with somebody the other day, like they were talking about, you know, how much easier life was for their parents.
Okay.
And how their parents could afford a house, and how people today can't afford a house.
Yeah.
And Barry just went, well, this technology is one of the biggest problems. He said, your parents did not have to pay streaming subscriptions for anything. They paid a TV license, and then you watched TV from 5 o'clock in the afternoon until 10 o'clock at night. That was how long TV was for, and that was it. You had a phone line that costs a third of what a cell phone does. He said, now you have 4 kids today, right? And this guy said, yeah. And he goes, so how many cell phones are in your house? And the guy was going, 8.
The heck?
Well, they have,
okay, so
each
6.
child has a cell phone. Him and his wife have cell phones, and then they have, so they have personal phones and work phones. So they have 8 cell phones. So they are technically paying for, you know, the wife works for a company, so her one phone
is paid
for by the company.
Yeah.
But now they are paying for 7 cell phones. Okay? On those cell phones, what else are they paying for? How many apps are they paying for? How many like games are they paying for? Like, do they have Netflix on how many of those phones?
Yeah.
And when you look at things like that, we are spending way more money on, I don't want to say junk, but things we don't need. And people don't even realize it, because why? In my parents' day, there weren't such things as credit cards. If you wanted something, you got a loan, you went, you wrote a check,
okay.
You paid cash for it. So there was no credit facilities.
Okay.
Or very limited credited facilities. So you only bought the things you really needed. You saved up if you wanted to buy a new TV.
If you wanted it, yeah.
You certainly didn't have Black Friday specials where everybody went and bought all their electronic devices and things like that.
Yeah.
People planned around money. Now, if it's Christmas, what do people do? They go and put everything on a credit card.
Yeah.
And then
Even
January
holidays.
and February, they're still paying off
The Christmas presents.
Christmas presents.
Which are probably broken already.
Well, they got bored
Well,
of.
sorry,
And
and
the
my
treadmills in the corner sitting, no one's using it. The New Year's resolutions died with.
It was a good
15th of
idea when
January.
it started, Nicole. Come on.
And so we've become this society of consuming,
Big time.
and instead of, like, I just look and I go, how much money are you spending on things you don't actually use?
Yeah, I actually saw this post, and I realized that I need to start sharing these things with you because they're hilarious more than anything else. It's not educational, but I saw this post that said we used to wait for nighttime minutes to make a call on the on the landline, and now we have unlimited minutes and we call nobody.
Well, you WhatsApp everyone. Exactly. I mean,
He used to be so eager.
It's so funny to actually look how things have changed, and now people don't even communicate. They send WhatsApps.
Yeah.
Or they send emojis, or they send gifts.
Gifts and avatars.
Those kind of things, and people are not actually communicating with words anymore. It's all pictures, and so people don't actually even like have a conversation today, and they spend thousands on these cellular devices where they are not being used for what they were designed for. They were originally designed as a phone, a telephone, to pick up and talk to somebody, put it to your ear, and so it was designed to do this, not.
Yeah, I mean, it was originally called a mobile phone.
Yes.
So that you can get away from the landline of the cord. So
Yes.
you can be mobile and talk to people.
Correct.
Now it's like, I want to talk to you, I want to message you.
I want to send you pictures, and I want to see what you look like, and so this is where the average person today is spending way too much money on things that they do not need. And then it is exhausting sitting, watching movies on your screen all the time, looking at your phone all the time. People's eyes are getting tired. My job's exhausting. I don't have the energy to do this. And then they go home and they sit in front of this. I don't know if this just happens in my house, but I'm pretty sure it's not. But how many people, the TV's on with Netflix, so we're paying for Netflix, and then everybody is sitting on their phones doing this, scrolling through Facebook and things like that, and playing games on their phones and whatever. So now we've got, let's say there's 4 of us, 4 devices going and a TV going. And like literally, nobody's connecting, nobody's paying attention. And then we're exhausted, we don't understand why. Well, life's just so hard at the moment. I'm so tired.
Rest.
And I'm not sleeping. I can't sleep at night. I don't understand why I can't sleep. Well, because your eyes are like this.
Glued to your phone.
Glued to your phone. All the blue light stuff. It's affecting people's health. Then they go to work, they're exhausted. They don't look at any of their moods. They don't take responsibility for anything. It's everybody else's fault. My boss doesn't pay me enough, so my job sucks. My boss is toxic.
Yes, gotta get it right because we use buzzwords here, even if we don't know what they mean. So for me, I was also thinking about it in terms of people hating their jobs, right? And I'm always gonna be a big advocate for social media, no matter what. But how much do you think people hating their jobs is tied to what they're viewing? Not just social media, but also like on Netflix and all these different things, right? When you're now looking at these lives that people are living, You don't know the back end. You're just looking at what they're showing you, and you're going, if I had that job, my life would be so much better.
But I don't even think it's if I had that job. It's people look at social media and they go, oh wow, they must be living their best life. Look at all the things that they're doing. Look at the cars they're driving. And social media, there is a place for it, but one of the problems with social media is people misperceive the truth. So just because somebody's sitting in a car does not mean they own it, does not mean they drive it, does not mean that it is parked in their garage and they pay for it. It does not mean those things. So, and you just have to, I mean, I just laugh. It's got so bad now. You can drive down our road here and there's people standing on the side of the road in front of a house taking a photo.
Gosh.
I'm like, what are you doing?
You know how many times I've seen that at malls where people are taking pictures in front of somebody else's car? And I'm like, what would you do if the owner just came out and lost his mind? Because firstly, you're putting my license plate all over social media. I don't even do that. And here you are, because you want to be perceived as somebody who you truly not. And that's, it's this, I mean, we've spoken about it a lot, I've spoken a lot with Barry, is this whole fake it till you make it concept, right? And I feel like that also ties into people hating their jobs, because I'm trying my best to show you that everything is great, but in all honesty, my life is not that great.
And this is where mental health awareness has started to come in, because people are going absent to their mental health because of technology and social media and all these things. So what's happening is that they're seeing what they perceive as somebody else has got an amazing job. They don't even know what they do.
Nope.
But they must have an amazing job to be able to afford the car and the house that they are living in, and to be able to go on the holidays that they're going on. So they must live this amazing life, and they must have all this amazing money, and their job must be paying them way more than mine. So I'd rather have their job.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think that's how we could actually showcase Barry, right? Because, you know, Barry travels a lot for work. So I've really thought about, instead of me, so basically what I would do is, when you guys are taking him to the airport, he'll be in his car, I'll be in my car, driving next to you guys, and we're shooting. So make it look super fancy, because he always gets upgraded to business class. You take pictures of, just make it seem everything that it's not. And see what, and my mind tells me, I know that the interaction on that will be bonkers. Why? Because people will be like, oh, look at him, he's made it, he's this big international speaker. But that's not him. That's, I mean, it's so easy to manufacture stuff like that.
But that's also not the truth, because you have this, or you create this perception that his life's amazing and he has no issues in it and everything's wonderful. No, he has issues. Do you think he's you know? Like, not everything is in his life is smooth sailing and wonderful and beautiful. And no.
But we could make it then if we really wanted to.
We could.
We could. I mean, I even think about it with you. We didn't have to show. You didn't have to show everybody Bella's journey. We could have just gotten to the end. Bella's graduated. Look at this amazing dog. Look how great I am, because I trained my dog in seconds, and I didn't see the struggle. I didn't see Bella dragging you for miles. I don't have to see that, because
I need to go to see the chiropractor because my back's out. But and that's the thing, is that people have this perception of everything's great on social media, so then they start hating their life because everybody else has this wonderful life. And the truth behind it is that everybody's life is just the same. They all have hardships, they all have money issues, they all have, you know, I mean, I think Kim Kiyosaki, the stat is 75% of women will at some stage live in poverty in their life.
Whoa, what is that, 75?
I think it's 75%.
Gee whiz, that's a high number. Whoa.
Or it's, if a woman loses their husband, if they're single, 75% of women at some stage in their life will live in poverty. I can't remember the exact stats, but it's something, it's significant.
Yeah, that's high.
And it's not to say that you will live in poverty your whole life. It's just a woman's standard of living will drop. I think that's also will drop by like 80% if she loses her husband. Why? Because women are not taught financial literacy.
True.
You know, the husband is, and a lot of this is not necessarily true for everybody, but it's also based on stats from certain countries, and it may not be true for you, but it's understanding that women are typically, in years gone by, we're not taught about financial literacy. The man's the head of the household, man will sort it out, man will look after you. Women also, I certainly know in Africa there's this perception, if I marry a rich person, I'll be fine.
I'm good. I'm good. My life's sorted.
My life's sorted, you know.
It's massive.
There's all these concepts of if I marry somebody, they'll look after me. And so women typically, it's interesting because I don't think it's just women. The average person today is not taught about money. That's the bottom line. School doesn't teach you about money.
No.
And so, I do think typically it has been worse for women. It's changing, but we are not taught about money. So, and I certainly know for myself, I have learned so much more about money in the last 5 years, you know, doing the financials and all sorts of things like that. For the business, I have a way bigger and better understanding of how money actually works and how much energy is tied to money.
Yeah.
Most people have no concept of that. And so you get this paycheck and you think you have to go and buy all this fancy stuff to keep up with the Joneses next door, to look good and feel good. And yet the reality is you feel good for, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, and it's short-lived.
Yeah.
And while I do understand there is that concept of having money, you know, it's, you've got to pay, you still got to pay your bills, you still got to do all those things, but are you honestly looking after your money? Do you know where it goes? You know, I mean, I had one client and I said to her, all I want you to do is for 1 month,
So 30 days, 31 days?
31 days is carry a notebook around with you, and every cent you spend, whether it's on your credit card, your bank card, your debit card, or you pay cash, I want you to take the slip and write it down and put it in your book. So you know exactly where your money goes every single month.
Sorry to cut, but would you say that, I mean, my brain's just going, I think that's a lot harder than just looking at my bank statements at the end of the month.
Oh, it's much harder, because you know exactly what you're doing when you are doing it. Because what happens with a bank statement is, most people, you just swipe their card, they have no idea what a loaf of bread costs.
Yeah.
I know they did a study that the average person has no idea what a loaf of bread costs and what a litre of milk costs.
I actually don't know either, and I wasn't surveyed, so that's I'm with you on that. I don't
But
know.
And I say that because people go and I need milk and bread and I need a whole bunch of other stuff and I pay
It's not even a
$200.
thought. Yeah,
it's not even a thought, because it's,
I need it.
you know,
What am I supposed to do?
it's around $30 for 2 litres of milk, and
Yeah.
it's around, I don't know, sort of 17 Rand for a loaf of bread. But if you actually, and this is where supermarkets often get it right, is they'll say it's on special, and they have a sign that says on special, and because people don't know how much it costs,
You don't.
they actually
It's
have
a
no
special.
concept. It's a special, so
Yeah.
I'm getting a good deal.
Yeah.
Because it says I'm getting a good deal.
Yeah, they wouldn't lie to me. I mean, they're not here to make money off me. They're here to help me.
And so it is the average person doesn't know how much they spend and what they spend it on. And it's one of the downsides of having bank cards, is because you're just swiping money and you don't actually know exactly what the numbers are. So if you get a book and you write down everything you spend, suddenly you won't be buying that cup of coffee on your way to work every day, because suddenly you're realizing it's not 35 Rand that you spend every day.
Mm-hmm. Because you're not just buying the coffee, you buy something to eat with that as well.
No, 35 times 5.
I don't know. I waited so long, I just said to you, I don't know. Let's see, 35
Let's see,
times
35
5.
times 5.
35 times 5, 175.
175 times 4.
Times 4, 700. Ooh, okay.
How much?
700.
Well, suddenly you're realizing I'm not spending 35 Rand a day on coffee. I'm spending 700 Rand a month. Wow.
And I mean, yeah, you can get a container of Jacob's coffee for like 160. You get the milk and sugar. You can make your coffee at home.
And
700, but that's a lot actually.
Suddenly,
Yeah.
oh wow, because 35 Rand is not a lot, right?
100%.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But if you write down everything you spend every single day, Woolies, I just stop at the garage and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my 35 Rand coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to get a sandwich for lunch at Woolies.
Mm-hmm.
A sandwich is only 45 Rand.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
No.
So I'm spending
80
80 bucks a day. Well, it's now 2,000 Rand that you're spending a month
It's
on a sandwich and coffee.
Mm.
It does not cost you 2,000 Rand to buy a loaf of bread and boil 2 eggs and
No.
make an egg mayo sandwich every day.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so important, and I hate that I have to say what I'm about to say. You can do whatever you want with your money. We're not saying that. Let's just be very clear. But in terms of what you just said there, that for me is so spot on. When you're sitting around hating your job for the fact that you don't, that's just we're going with the money part of it, right? I hate my job because I don't earn enough. If you actually write down the frivolous things you spend your money on, 35 Rand a day here, on coffee, 40 bucks a day here on a sandwich,
It's 200 bucks a month on data.
you see, and it doesn't seem like a lot.
No,
In the
but
moment.
you have Wi-Fi at work, right? You
Yeah.
have Wi-Fi at home. So
Yeah,
what do you need data for?
That's true. Why
I need data to check my Facebook when I'm driving.
Probably shouldn't do that because that's a risk. You're not getting
How
an
many people
accident
do that?
and it costs you more now and now you hate your job because I couldn't be on Facebook when I wanted to be on Facebook because I had to go to work.
And so it's,
Ripple.
most people are not aware of what they are doing when they are doing it. Where they spend their money. Are you doing what you need to do when you're at work? Are you putting your phone aside, leaving it in your bag, doing what you need to do at work, and then going home and then checking your messages and checking, who did what on Facebook and who's driving what car and whatever? It's not going to kill you to do that.
No, because your friends are also at work.
If you have friends. But it's just understanding that, do you know what you are doing when you are doing it? Are you present to what you are doing when you are doing it? Are you aware of how much money you spend? Are you aware of the moods that are turning on when you spend money? Are you aware of when your spirit is saying, you shouldn't be buying this, you shouldn't be eating this? Are you listening to your body? Or are you spending a fortune on, we can go into food and stuff, I can talk for hours on that, on how many people don't actually know what they're putting into their body and how much they're spending on chocolate bars.
Yeah.
For energy, and yet it's the chocolate bar that they're eating that's causing their energy to dip.
Yeah, I think I'm now falling into that trap as well with the specific energy drink. I'm not gonna say its name because they're not sponsoring us, so I'm not gonna do that. But it's like 10, 12 Rand, right? You're like, it's 12 Rand. You can find that in my car seat, so it's not that much. But if I'm doing it every single day, and it's not like I'm buying one, I'm buying for Michaela, I'm buying for Barry, I'm buying for you, so now I'm buying 4. So now it's 40 bucks.
Who drinks mine?
Usually Barry. that's why he's so hyper. He has about 2 a day. But it doesn't seem like much, right? It seems like a small little insignificant thing, but if I then actually track it, if I'm doing that every single day, it's $40 a day times 5 days. And I also started to creep in on weekends as well, so, the kids and they're driving me crazy, so I need some energy to keep up with them. But technically I don't, because I've been doing it without it. But I've now found a way to justify the spend. All of a sudden it's $100 a day. That's just, $100 a week that's just flowing out. $400 gone on something that I genuinely don't need. I could drink water, I would be fine.
But, it's also understanding there's a time and a place for the energy drink. But having 2 a day or buying for everyone at the office is because you're feeling Mr. Nice Guy. It's not optimum.
No, it's not.
And it's, I don't want to say you're wasting your money, but it creates upsets. If you are doing that with energy drinks, chocolate bars, chips, lunch, coffees, that's 500 Rand on each thing.
Yeah.
If we just say in a month, that's 2.5 grand you're spending on stuff that you're consuming that most of it you don't even need.
That's some good amounts of groceries.
And so it's just having that awareness of what are you doing when you are doing it, what are the effects, and is 2,000 Rand going to make a difference to you at the end of the month?
Yes.
And the average person, the answer to that is yes, because it's 2 tanks of fuel.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you had that extra 2,000 Rand, and you could put fuel in your car at the end of the month, you're not scrimping and scraping going, oh, I don't know if I should go here, I don't know if I should go out, I don't know. That is energy sapping.
It is.
And so it is, it's just, and then it becomes I hate my job because now I've got to put fuel in my car to go to work.
Yeah,
at the end of the month.
I have to pay for my own fuel to come to work. That's crazy.
And I don't have that money and, blah, 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 blah. And instead of looking from the beginning of the month and just going, what are you spending your money on? What mood is this creating? How much energy am I spending on thinking about making phone calls instead of making the phone calls? But it's just having that awareness. What are you doing when you're doing it? What is your mood level? How does it affect you? And what's the knock-on effect in your life?
Whew.
We can talk on this all day, but I think we've pretty much done enough for today.
Yeah. I really hope you enjoyed this, because this was I enjoyed this because for me there's so much, you can tie so much to people hating their job, right? And it's not just, and I think what you said in the beginning of the podcast in terms of looking at yourself first, right? I feel like most people don't do that, myself included. It's very easy for me to look outside and go, well, it's Nicole's fault that I hate my job because she's always asking me to do stuff that I don't want to do. Whereas if I wanted to do what I want to do, I'll be happy in my job. I probably wouldn't, because I wouldn't know what I need to do. And it wouldn't drive results. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it is. It's get clear on what your roles and responsibilities are in your job and do them.
So for those of you who are interested, on the 13th of March 2025 at the Fat Ginger at 8:30, the master herself will be teaching at her first entrepreneur hangout. Super excited for that. I feel like the more I've been speaking about it, the more I'm not saying I'm getting an understanding of it, but I think I'm getting clearer on the whole bank system, right? Just from a personality perspective, how do you speak to people of that code?
Yeah.
And I'm realizing my prime example is I can't do it with Michaela because we are our codes are the same. So we are both lazy then active. No, it's not a bank thing. But his action-driven thing it's wild. Like to actually be aware of it and be like, man, your code. I wouldn't want to do that because it's exhausting, but I like it. It's very interesting to see. So yes, Nicole will be teaching on Bank, really a personality profiling system that will help you, one, in your business, understand how to drive better results, and how to communicate with people better. But I think just as people, being able to communicate with other people better, because I feel, as Nicole had actually said, we don't know how to communicate with people anymore. Like, it's a lost art. People are, and I'm speaking about myself here, I communicate better with AI than I'm communicating with humans right now. It's a terrifying situation.
I need to put out an ad. Let me just type it into AI and see
100%.
what it comes back as.
I
Let me do
literally
this, let me
forgot
do that.
words yesterday because I've been so reliant on utilizing AI that I was trying to tell Michaela something and the words were, English was defeating me. But that's just me. So you can get your tickets on www.uncoveringgreatness.com. $550 gets you in. If you found value, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the podcast. Do you hate your job? Don't you hate your job? How valuable was this to you? And implementing it. I think like one thing you should maybe implement is what Nicole said. Writing down actually what you spent. And I think that will make a difference in a lot of people's lives. Any final thoughts, Nicole?
Yeah, I think, whether it's writing down how much money you spend or what your roles and responsibilities are actually in your job, most people couldn't actually tell you what they are, but implement something and see where it takes you.
Awesome stuff, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another episode of the Uncovering Greatness podcast. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week. Be blessed.
Bye.